No doubt you have probably heard that all these reform councils and councillors are really concerned about the amount of money being spent and that they don't want to spend any more money or borrow any more money because they can see just how desperate some of these local councils really are in terms of, finances or funding. And this is absolute nonsense because, as we will see, and as we have seen on a couple of occasions, these reform people are more than happy to spend money on stuff, just so long as it's the right stuff that they want it to be spent on. We covered yesterday, of course, the announcement that they're going to move stuff from net zero spending, which would again help reduce flooding in Leicestershire, to putting it into flood defense. So they're moving stuff from that would prevent future flooding and reduce that happening to just saying, well, if flooding's going to happen anyway, might as well just put money into it. And it's not just that. We've heard a lot of things to make them look good. A good little PR puff piece, what you've seen on a couple of councils that they control of. Oh yeah, we're reducing councillor income. Like we're reducing their expenses, but we're also increasing their, shall we say, their ability to spend money with a little thing called councillor, or what's it called now? Like, basically, if a council wants to sort of fund a charity, a local group or anything like that, councillor can give money to it. Now, this can be the case of where councillors can be a little bit naughty on occasions. There have been occasions on the past of, well, a councillor setting up a community group and then hiring a member of their family and then paying that money to that member of the family so that family gets an employment. Sometimes it's been completely above board and all fine, but it's a little bit dodgy, shall we say. Those funds are, open to abuse. And there have been a couple of occasions where they have been very, very much so abused. So if you are a local reporter, I would say watch what your local councillor or your local reform councillor spends that money on. Wouldn't be too surprised if, shall we say, number of, far-right groups maybe get access to that. Would not be surprised. Putting that call in now for a future video in the future. But one of the things, of course, is pay, councillor pay, or even local councillors getting paid. This is often the big sore point for a lot of people. Yes, in some cases, councillors do get paid, and the councillors do get paid, it's not exactly a lot on some occasions. And if it's a cabinet position, yes, they do get paid, which, okay, again, they are making important decisions, they are doing stuff, fair enough. But not all councillors get paid, or if they do, it's purely expenses. Now, this is a classic reform story of, we're going over to Scarborough Town Council, where the new reform mayor has constantly put out posts about how they have to have really tough spending decisions and really, watch how every penny is spent. Meanwhile, of course, they've just increased the mayor's allowance to over 600%. Sure sounds like they're watching every penny in Scarborough. So, before we do get into this, please do remember to click on the like, share, and of course, subscribe button as well. And of course, don't forget to ring the bell as well. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page, the one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee, the YouTube thank you button, and of course, as always, the YouTube membership button down below as well. So, thank you very much to everyone who does help and support the channel. And of course, don't forget to ring the bell. So, let's go cracking on then into this, because this is a classic, this one. A real classic. So, Scarborough Town Council now faces scrutiny over 600% increase in mayor allowance. So, a £3,500 allowance will now be given to Scarborough Town Council's Reform UK Mayor Thomas Murray after the authority's annual budget was now approved at a meeting on Wednesday, the 16th of July. Like I say, get ready, because a lot of these councils, They got elected when a budget had already been passed for the year. Too late to make anything, but guarantee you next year when it rolls around to like February, March time, we're going to be seeing a lot of stories about how these town councils intend to sort of start spending their budget. So the members, of course, of the Reform UK run council tried to defend the increase on the grounds that the mayor should not be left out of pocket for the unpaid role, which they said involved an increase in duties, and added that the savings had already been made in other areas. Oh, don't worry, we've cut really vital services just so that this guy can have, a pay increase. Anyway, before the town council was created on the 1st of April, a group now of charter trustees and councillors who represented the town's unparished areas in the North Yorkshire Council were responsible now for maintaining civic traditions. Speaking at the town council full meeting, the independent opposition councillor, Rich Moore, expressed now serious concerns over the allocation. He said, under the now former charter trustees, the mayor received £500 and the deputy mayor £100, which was now considered very both sufficient for their civic duties. I just respectively now ask the following. What was the justification for increasing the allowance to £3,500, please? The town mayor and the chair of the STC, Councillor Thomas Murray, said that the figure was, quote, based on how many engagements I attended in a given year. He had quite a few engagements since becoming mayor, and how much the cost has been in that period extended over that year. He said the allowance had been set at over £3,500 because he's aware that this is public money. However, he said the estimate that I came up with is a lot more than that. So it would make sense to me, to be the mayor, that this is an unpaid role and that this money is now solely for me to exercise my duties efficiently. Strange how, as they said, the previous mayors had been able to, have £500 and they were fine with it. They could actually do that. But this guy, I need a £3,000 increase. What is he doing to justify spending all that? What engagement is he doing to justify that increase? Anyway, in the interview with the local democracy reporting service this week, Mayor Murray went on to say, one of the things that we are very curious about is how we spend money. And if we are spending money, it has to be done meaningful and not wasted. So he's doing all these events. £500 is not enough. What are you meaningfully doing? And how is this money, this massive increase, not a waste? When previous town councillors had, mayors in this case, had like £500 and been doing quite well with it. What duties and events is he doing where we would need that amount of increase in spending? That should be highly scrutinized. This guy should be like, right, we want to see every single receipt from now on. If you are an opposition councillor, I would be like, right, we want a receipt every single time you spend this money. Next time, we want to see the receipts. How on earth do you justify this spending? This is insane. This is an insane increase to this money. So, at, of course, the council's full meeting, the mayor was also asked whether the allowance had been benchmarked against other parish councils now of a similar size and structure. The mayor said that other councils' spending had also been looked at and added. He's saying the scope of the town council has received now a considerable impact. So if we get less impact next year, then the allowance will get reduced. What? What events was he doing to try and justify this increase? This is insane. Councillor Stuart Murray, again a member now, also leading the reform group, said that the party was very aware of the budget cost and that the figures was hopefully more than we need to spend in that particular area. So wait, you're spending more than you need in that particular area. What? He went on to say, the point really is that we do want to support the role of mayor for this town. He added that if £3,500 were to be put on the council tax bill, it would be the equivalent of 25% a year council tax bill equivalent. And yet, Reform UK ran on the exact promise they will not be increasing council tax. In fact, they've said a lot of stuff very recently that indicates they want to go on a massive council tax slashing spree, which I think when that full Doge stuff comes in, because they're trying to find a way to balance the books in a way that they can do it down in Kent, they absolutely will. And that will cause huge problems for councils. Councillor Stewart also said that through now careful negotiation, the authority has now already saved £5,000 worth in money that has been allocated now in relation now to the mayor's chains and civic regalia. So that's where, again, the money has again been saved. The chains and the regalia, which, again, that type of civic regalia, not cheap. Keeping those type of chains, also not cheap either. Insurance on chains like that is very expensive. Trust me, I had one myself when I was in charge of JCI and UK president and local president. Chains are not cheap to insure. But again, having them insured, pretty good idea. So the overall budget, of course, for Scarborough Town Council in the first year up to March of 2026, included staff salaries, was set at £385,000. So, yeah, I do not see how on earth this gets through. Well, how on earth this is managed to get through. This is insane. And luckily, the two comments below, there's only two, unfortunately, at the moment. But the comments here are, again, Reform's First Act shows that what they're all about. Anyone else said, of course, nothing to see here. Again, not surprising in that. Because, again, this is reform. Oh, yeah, we're really going to save money. We're really going to make sure that we are, pinching every penny, but needs a 600% increase. This poor mayor needs a 600% increase. How on earth have all these other mayors with £500 managed to cope and perform their duties? But this guy comes along and goes, nah, need about a £3,000 more adding to that. Like I say, what is he doing to say that £500 was not enough? Like, what events was he doing? What events was he attending? And what was he spending on that? That is hugely needs looking at and scrutinizing on that. Absolutely. But anyway, as always, let me know what you think about all this. I'm sure some of you have got some very interesting things to say about that, probably as well if you are from Scarborough. So, as always, thank you very much. Do remember to leave a comment down below. And of course, as always, please do remember to click the like, share, and of course, subscribe button down as well. And of course, don't forget to ring the bell as well. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, we'll see you all next time.